every old men, until every foot of dirt is a grave. Then I'll stack them on top. I'll kill them all. 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 I'll kill them all!
Shinobu Sensui, on one hand the greatest anime manga villain of all time, on the other probably the most tragic hero of all time. It's this duality alone that makes him such a legendary villain in not only all of anime and manga, but fiction in general. You see, when looking at Sensui's transition from hero to villain, his goals and motivation never changed one bit. In fact, by the end of the Chapter Black arc, you could still consider Sensui a hero of some sort. Calling Sensui complex is an understatement, which is why he transcends the title of simply villain or hero. Sensui is an enigma with many layers, which is what makes him such a great character. He redefines the idea of justice in not only the minds of multiple characters in the show, but also the viewers. To better understand Sensui and his ideology, we have to look at his past and how it led to his current worldview. Without further ado,
you've come to me like countless before you with selfish and spiteful souls. And just like them, you've been judged.
Sensui from a young age was able to sense demons around him. At a young age, he couldn't understand why he was different, why he had innate spiritual power, and why demons were attracted to it and trying to attack him constantly. Because of this, Sensui's entire life has been a constant fight against apparitions that others couldn't even see. Having become a teenager with immense spirit energy and a strong will for justice made him the perfect candidate for spirit detective. His view of the world was simple at this point. Demons were evil, therefore humans deserve to be protected from such evils whenever possible. Sensui, while on a mission to hunt the demon Itsuki, ultimately ends up befriending and partnering up with the demon. Through this relationship, Sensui began thinking maybe all demons aren't so evil after all. Even after building this positive relationship with the demon, he still kept his overarching philosophy that humans are good and demons are bad. However, his entire life work would be challenged after his last assigned mission as a spirit detective. Sensui was sent to crash a meeting between major kingpins and dons of the human world's underworld black market demon trade. Sensui succeeded in infiltrating the meeting, but he ended up seeing something so disturbing that it changed him forever. He witnessed a ritual known as the Feast of Human Vices, which involves humans torturing the demons they had captured to sell. Sensui saw humans enacting cruelties 1,000 times worse than anything he saw from demons. This caused Sensui to snap. Unable to understand what he witnessed, he killed every human there. Being unable to accept what he had done, he subconsciously developed multiple personality disorder to help himself cope. After being dismissed of his duties as spirit detective, he also took the Chapter Black tape back to the human world. This tape showed real-life footage of humankind's worst atrocities, which only created more questions in regards to Sensui's values. His extreme black and white view of the world was met with a new gray area, which he didn't know how to deal with. Instead of approaching the situation like he should have, by looking at the nuances and realizing that maybe not all humans are bad, the same way he realized not all demons were bad, Sensui instead just flipped his view of the world upside down. Instead of seeing humans as good and needing to be protected, he saw them as bad and needing to be eliminated, or in his words, face judgment for their sins.
Never satisfied, never full, they eat and destroy with grubby hands until nothing is left but piss. But now, the judgment of all humans has begun.
Sensui, having gone through all of this, developed a relatively skewed view of the world and the people in it. Sensui's black and white view of the world, combined with his accounts of humans being more evil than any demons he's seen, caused him to see all humans as sinful creatures. Like I said earlier, his goal and motivation for his actions didn't change, but his method for achieving that goal did. Because Sensui was forced to defend himself from demons as a child, he saw them as evil. So in his mind, to rid the world of evil meant ridding the world of demons. When he saw the Feast of Human Vices, he realized all along that it was his own kind that was committing the most evil act. His goal was still ridding the world of evil. However, his method to achieve this became eliminating all humans rather than demons. Sensui's convictions run deep, which is why it's easy to say that he believes the ends justify the means. Kurama even describes Sensui as Machiavellian when he realizes that Sensui manipulated and sacrificed Amanuma to achieve his goal. The philosophy that best describes Sensui is utilitarianism, more specifically act utilitarianism, the idea that a person person's act is morally justified if it creates the best possible outcome in that situation. Sensui, believing that humans are capable of more evil than demons, is willing to manipulate and sacrifice a human child for his plan. Utilitarians think that what makes a morality be true or justifiable is its positive contribution to human and perhaps non-human beings. In this case, it was demons that Sensui was trying to protect. Now, while it may seem like Sensui's entire philosophy is just cut and dry, that's not the case at all. Remember, he created 6 other personalities to help himself cope with his actions of slaughtering humans. Whenever Sensui is put in a high-stress situation, he switches personalities to help him get a better grasp of the situation. Because of this, in his mind, his Shinobu personality is perfect and free of any sin or immorality. He even has a personality specifically for killing named Kazuya. The fact that Sensui goes through all this to justify his actions in his mind just goes to show that he himself realizes that some of his actions may not be justifiable as true justice. It's almost like he's fighting to hold on to his old ways of heroism from his earlier years.
It is a war waged against evil, yet the evil is within. How else can I justify what I've done but to continue? Then shouldn't all humans die?
Like I said earlier, Sensui doesn't fit the title of villain like other characters in fiction. The best way to describe Shinobu Sensui is a tragic hero. A tragic hero is a character whose lapse in judgment ultimately leads to their downfall. Sensui's lack of nuance when looking at the relationship of good and evil when it comes to humans and demons was the cause of his spiral from, well, sanity. 3 characteristics of a tragic hero are hubris, hamartia, and peripetia. These are all characteristics that resonate with Sensui's story and his development as a character. His hubris, or pride, is the reason his views of justice were so black and white. He thought he had the world figured out as just a team. Hamartia and peripetia occur when Sensui infiltrates the black meeting and sees the ritual. This lapse in judgment changes the trajectory of his entire story as a character. Sensui's white and black view of the world was his ultimate downfall as a true hero. This is why Koenma says he purposely picked Yusuke, who is an antithesis of Sensui in every way. In conclusion, Sensui is a character whose simplistic ideology leads him to being a more complex character. His overly strong conviction to bring justice is what ultimately leads to his own destruction. You can't help but hear the story of Sensui and just wonder what the world of Yu Yu Hakusho would look like had he not snapped. I think there are lessons we can all learn from the character of Sensui too. The most important being that if you have convictions, don't close your mind to variables or nuances of whatever the situation is. It's important to not look at everything as strictly black and white, instead leaving room for gray. With that being said, I'm Ken, and this is why Shinobu Sensui is the greatest anime villain of all time. Peace.
Because it's home. Home to the apparitions whom I've been taking life from since I was a child. When I was younger, I always wondered, why me? Why do these horrible creatures pick only on me? Why do they hate me? Why do they want me to die? But I was a child and I never tried to ask them. I never gave them the chance to speak. Instead, I improved my fighting techniques while I grew to hate them more and wanted them to die even more. When I became a spirit detective, they told me they are not like us, so they must be against us. Their difference threatens our sameness. It is us versus them. Humans are good and demons are bad. We are just and they are unjust. But I was an adolescent and did not even think to question such simple binaries. I could not have been more wrong. I discovered the humans I was sworn to protect were in truth the greater monsters. And if that were so, then I had to question everything I knew of the monsters I'd been fighting. My world turned inside out. The truths I'd held to be irrefutable were all inverted. When I learned that I was going to die, I knew that I needed to collapse those boundaries between us and them, thus the tunnel. And then I could come here to die. I thought if I could see the world through their eyes, be a stranger in a strange land, then maybe I could understand them better, and thus understand myself. Dying by demon hands, I could then make penance for my sins. But then I saw you, Urameshi, first demonized in a human's body, and then humanized in a demon's. You dissolved the barriers between us in ways I never imagined, and now I can finally rest.